Hello and welcome everyone. I'm your host Kamaksh Dev Sharma and this is the video number 1 of my HTML5 canvas and JavaScript game development tutorial series. In this series, we are going to create many fully functional JavaScript games, and so get any further updates about the videos, just hit that subscribe button and let's start code without wasting any time. So, right before starting the tutorial, I just want to give you a quick seek to what we are going to create today. So, this is what we'll be creating. So in this tutorial, what we'll be doing is that create these balls to fall at random positions downwards in the Y position. Okay, so let's begin. So I've created a tutorials folder which will contain all the activities that would be in the YouTube tutorials I'll be doing. So I have to create a new folder, and I'm gonna say it fruit catch, cause it feels like catching apple and such. So now open it with your text editor. Mine is Visual Studio Code. Control KO for opening any folder. Go to tutorials, fruit catch, select it. Opening, close the welcome window. And we have to create 3 files: index.html, styles.css, and script.js file. Now go to HTML and create a simple basic HTML format. We don't want that code for this project. Give it a title of fruit catch. Link the style sheet, as well as in the body give a link for the script. Right before the script, create a canvas element. Go to this styles and give a universal style to like margin 0 for basic positioning, padding 0, and box sizing to border box. Canvas, give it a position to be absolute, left to be 0, and top 0. So this styles is necessary for if we want to create any game or such like that's covering the whole screen. We have to add this code. So go to the script file. Now let's pull up this canvas element. For that, we are going to create a const const canvas document.query selector and get a query selector of canvas. Now we have the canvas. We want something to draw on it. So for that, we are going to create a const c equal canvas.query selector. No. Canvas.getContext. I'm sorry for that. Of 2D. So if you go here, open the folder for catch and open the index file. Open the developer elements, and when you hover over at canvas, we see it's just taking the area of 300 by 150 pixels, but we want it to be covering the whole screen. Well, it just takes 2 lines to do that. We just have to say here canvas dot width is equals to inner width, canvas dot height equals to inner height. So not tab, control R. So you can see here it's added width 1014 pixels, height to be 625 pixels, and yes, it's covering the whole screen here. So now what we want is that we want to create these balls, or we can say apples, that are falling from the sky. So for that we have to create a class. And what a class is, I want to demonstrate it to you with the help of a diagram. So like, if we are creating multiple objects and we want all of them to have their individual movements or any individual function that they should be performing, so we have to write code for each one of them to give them that specific, what we say, movements and all. So for the sake of time and the sake of energy, we create a class. It doesn't look like a class. So in the class we write the code. I don't feel like writing code, but yes, we write code and we attach these objects to the class. And to attach, it just takes one line, and we save so much time and so much energy for that. So we can close it, go to Visual Studio, and we're gonna call it class ball, or whatever you want. The class is gonna contain 3 functions: constructor, draw, and update. Draw will be where we are making the ball, update will be where we'll be managing its movements, and constructor will be the handler of its positioning and its physical appearance. So it's constructor. Constructor is where we actually also demand for what we want from the user to where to create it. So we want an X position, Y position, and a radius, ADRUS, because it's gonna be a circle. Right, this dot X is equals to X, as we'll be using like this line, this dot X equals to X. This determines that we are using what we demanded for. So when we write this dot X equals to X, it just makes this X from blackish color to whitish. This dot Y is equals to Y, and this dot radius is equals to radius. We also want it to be colored red, so we'll say this dot color is equals to be red. In the draw, we have to create C dot begin path and C dot close path, and in that we'll wrap all the making. This would be C dot arc to create circle. X would be the X position that's given to us. Y would be this dot Y, radius would be this dot radius. Its start angle would be 0. Let the end angle be 360. And boolean of anti-clockwise, well, we don't want it because we have to create a full circle, so we'll just say it to be false. Now it's scrolling part, so we'll say C dot fill style to be equal to this dot color. Now C dot fill. That's all for the draw. Now come down to update, and this we're gonna call the draw function. This dot draw. So here we are just gonna say var x equals to new ball. See, it's that simple as that. And here we are seeing what we had demanded in the constructor, that its x-axis, let it be 100, y be 100, and radius, let it be 20. and if you go on and refresh the page, you won't see anything at the moment. So for that we have to draw it actually. So for drawing it, we're just gonna say here x.update update. Go here and refresh the page, and we are seeing here. So let's try adding the animation to it. So we are here gonna say this the y velocity. What velocity basically is, it's the movement or the speed in any direction, and y is like up to down or down to up, it's y positioning. And in the update we are just gonna say this the y plus equals this the y velocity. If I go on and refresh the page, it's not moving. What's the trouble? Move! So what's happening here is that we're just calling the update one time, but we want it to be called multiple times, the maximum times for the animation to go on. And for that we can just come down here and create function animate, or whatever you want to name it, and inside it the first line in the function would be to request animation frame, and for which function we want to call it, we want to call it for animate function. We don't want brackets in the request animation. So after that, take the x update and paste it here, call the animate function, refresh the page, and the ball seems to be badly stretched out. What's the trouble we are seeing here? And it's that whenever we call like animate anything, we are not actually creating its x position, y position. What we are doing is that we are creating the first ball, then the second ball with the second positioning, like the updated positioning, then the other ball with updated positioning, then the other ball with updated positioning. And to get rid of the previous ball, we are just gonna say here after the request animation c.clearRect, and what the clearRect would be, its x position should be 0, y position should be 0, width should be canvas.width. It would be the width of the canvas because we want to clear the width of the whole canvas. Its height, it should be canvas.height. If I go on and refresh the page, we are seeing a good old animation. But we want to create multiple balls, so for that I will just go and create a var for balls, BOLLS, and set it equal to an empty array. And now I am going to create a center interval, and in the center interval I'll be creating new ball in every 2 seconds. Well, what you are seeing here as 2000, it's actually the milliseconds. The time in the interval and timeout, what we are not using in this project, is always in milliseconds. So 1000 milliseconds equals to 1 second. After every 2 seconds, I want to create a new ball. For that, I'm just gonna say balls dot push new ball, and its x position. Now as we come here, the x position of each and every ball is randomized, and for that we are going to use a math function named as math.random, math.random, and multiply it by canvas.width. And here in the new ball, I'm just gonna say x variable that I just created, its y, it should always be equal to -10 because its radius is 20. So what its y should be, it should be minus of the radius divided by 2. So if I go and refresh the page, I won't see anything because I'm not calling the update for the balls that I'll be creating here. So let's just get rid of the var x, the ball that we had created in the starting, and call the update for each and every ball that we are going to create in the balls array. And for that, I'm going to use a function known as for each. And for that, I'm just going to say balls dot for each ball an array function and say ball dot update. As simple as that. Refresh the page and see here, sometimes the balls might be like stuck inside the wall, and it would be so easy to get rid of that. And on the line 34, where we had created the var x for the randomization of the balls, oh, it's such a tongue twister, just wrap the canvas width in 2 brackets. In the first bracket, just subtract 20 from it, because 20 is the radius of the circle. Then again subtract 20 from the outside the bracket, and then right outside all of these brackets add 20. So what this statement would do is that it would get us the maximum. It's the maximum that we can get the ball's x position to be. So it's x, it would be like here, like what we can say, stuck inside the wall. Its maximum would be like this, half circle inside the wall. So we are subtracting 20 to get the half also outside, then subtract 20, it's the minimum, and then add the minimum again. So now we can just have a check that not even a single ball will be inside the wall. So now what I want to do, okay, so that's all for the tutorial. Stay tuned, subscribe my channel to see more tutorials like that, because we have to create the whole game, right? Okay, so in the next tutorial, what we are gonna create is the paddle. Yes, there are quite a few topics to cover right now. Please like the video if you got it any helpful, and comment down below if you have any query, or just say hi to inform that you are watching.